One of the biggest financial decisions that we make as we prepare for retirement is when to take Social Security. We want to be sure that we are taking it at the appropriate time. So the question is this: is taking Social Security early a huge mistake for you? So in this video, I'm going to be showing you everything you need to be considering to make the right decision. And then at the end, we're going to bring an expert in and he'll show you exactly what you need to do. So the first thing we have to consider is, what is your full retirement age? So let's talk about calculating that. So anyone that's born between the years of 1943 and 1954 has a full retirement age of 66, 0. Okay, no months. Now, after 1954, they begin to add to our full retirement age. And so anyone that's born in 1955, they had a full retirement age of 66 and 2 months. That would be added to their birth month. And then in 1956, it'd be 66 and 4 months. 1957, we're going to add 6 months to that. 1958, we're going to add 8 months to that. 1959, we're going to be adding 10 months to that. And then if you're born in 1960, thereafter, you would have a full retirement age of 67. So I am shooting this video today. It's actually April the 27th, 2023. All right. So let's say that someone's having a birthday. They're turning 65 today, which means what? Their birthday would be 3/27/1958. And so in 1958, what do we have to do? We have to add 8 months to their full retirement age. And so we know that they're going to turn 66 in 2024 on 3/27. All right. So they've hit 66, but we have to add 8 months to that. So here's what we do. We're going to start those 8 months. We're going to add April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So November 1 of 2024, that would be the month in which they are going to reach their full retirement age. And so again, you know your birthday, be sure to add the appropriate months to determine your full retirement age month. Hey, just real quick, we often hear from our viewers that they wish that they would have seen a video earlier because they made a decision that really wasn't in their best interest, or they made a decision without having this information and it cost them financially. And we don't want that to happen to you. We upload 3 times every week, and the only way you're going to know about our new videos is if you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. We're constantly giving away brand new strategies, updates, and comparisons that you don't want to miss. So click the subscribe button below this video right now and turn on notifications so that you never miss another video. So once we know our full retirement age, that full retirement age amount that the Social Security gives us is called a primary insurance amount, all right? So this is your full retirement age benefit, cash benefit, okay? That is neither reduced or increased because we waited to full retirement age to take that benefit. So let's talk about how they come up with this amount. And again, there's a formula, there's a calculation. I'm going to explain how that works. And behind the scenes, the Social Security office will give all this to you. But I think it's interesting that you understand exactly how this works. So first off, they're going to take your top 35 years of earnings. Top 35 years. Now, some of you have worked 40 years or maybe longer, but they're going to take still the top 35 years. If you haven't worked for 35 years, within some of those years are going to be 0, but they're always going to calculate the top 35 years. All right. And so what they'll do is with that number, the top 35 years of your earnings, they are going to index those. And what I mean by that is they're going to increase those amounts, because 35 years ago you could have been making $10,000, which would be equal to $70,000 today. So the point is they index those up, inflate those to current dollars. And so once we have that particular amount, whatever that's going to be, then they're going to take that number and they're going to divide that by 420 months. Again, that's 35 years. Okay, so let's suppose that someone has averaged, we'll say once everything is indexed up, they've averaged $5,000 a month. Okay, so that'd be kind of an average income. And so what we would do is we would take that $5,000 dollars a month, $60,000 a year. We'd multiply that times 35 years, and that's going to give us $2.7 million over that 35-year period of time. So $2,700,000. And so we take that $2,700,000 and we divide that by 420 months, and that's going to give us what is called the average indexed monthly earnings. So that's an average of this amount here, and that comes out to be $5,000. All right? So that $5,000 number then is applied to a formula that has what we call bend points. And so let me explain how this works. And so what we have is this. They're going to take this number, and the first $1,115 of that number, we're going to get 90% of that. All right? We'll do the math on it in just a second. And so anything above that $1,115, which in this case would be up to $6,721, we're actually going to get 32% of that. And we'll calculate that. And then anything above that amount, whatever that would be, in this example, there is none because we're going to fall within this range. But anything above that, whatever that number would be, we actually would get 15% of that as far as our income is concerned. So these are called bend points. Bend points. Right? So this is what they're going to use for the formula. So let's look exactly, if this was our average index a monthly earnings of $5,000, how much will be our Social Security benefit or our primary insurance amount at our full retirement age? Let's do the calculation. All right, so we're going to get 90% of the first $1,115. And that number comes up to be $1,003.50. All right? Now, the difference between these two numbers here, we're going to get 32%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take $5,000 less our $1,115. I'm going to take $5,000. Now we got a difference of $3,885 in here, and we get 32% of that. So we're going to do 32%, and that's going to give us $1,243.20. Now this person wasn't above that, so in this part right here, that would actually be a zero. So someone that had a $5,000 average index monthly earnings would receive a Social Security benefit of $2,246.70 a month if they take that benefit at full retirement age, all right? So that's their primary insurance amount. Now, if we take before that, what happens? Before our full retirement age, then we're gonna lose 6% a year, basically 0.5% a month. Or if we decide not to take it full retirement age, then we actually can grow that at 8% a year up until age 70, which is 0.67% a month. All right. And so if we take early, we're going to take 6% less. If we take beyond full retirement age, we're going to get an additional 8% up until age 70.
Hey, my name's Josh Music, and if you've been enjoying my dad Marvin Music's content, you really need to go to our website, MedicareSchool.com. When you go there, you'll be given the opportunity to download a free 1-hour Medicare Essentials workshop, and it's going to take you all the way from Medicare A to Z. By the time you're done watching that workshop, you're going to know how to enroll in Medicare, when to enroll in Medicare. You're going to know the difference between Advantage plans, supplemental plans. You're going to know how to get drug coverage. You're going to know everything you need to know to get the best coverage possible. So go ahead, go to MedicareSchool.com and watch the Medicare Essentials workshop.
Now there's one more item, a last item, that we have to consider when we make this Social Security decision, and that is, are we going to continue to work? Because if we continue to work, that could have a bearing on our Social Security benefit. And so here's the way it works. If we go to full retirement age, okay, what happens is we do not have to worry about what is called the earnings test. So once I get to full retirement age, what I'm getting ready to teach you will never apply. So remember in my example, we said we had someone that was born today, 3/23/1958, and we said they hit their full retirement age month 11/1 of 2024. All right? And so this is date of birth. We took 66 and we added 8 months to that for the full retirement age then, November 2024. So if we take here or after, we don't have to worry about the earnings test. But anytime before full retirement age, now the earnings test is going to come into play. And so let's talk about how that works. So here's the way it works. First of all, from 62 to 65. So if this person takes early, obviously we know we're going to take less, 6% a year less. And what's going to happen if I am working at the same time I'm taking my Social Security, my earnings test right now is $21,240. Now, when we talk about the earnings test, what they're testing is just earnings, just wages that you're earning from your employment, not your spouse's employment, just yours. Now, the earnings test does not apply to rental income, investment income, any kind of pensions or annuity income. It does apply to any kind of an income that you're getting that's outside of your working wages is the point. Doesn't matter, all right? And so it's just working wages, and it's your job. So as long as I stay below gross amount, $21,240, there would be no bearing at all in my Social Security benefit. But if I'm above that amount, what happens is for every $2 above the earnings test, they take $1 out of my Social Security benefit. So let's just keep it real simple. Let's say that I happen to be making just $6,000 above. So I'm making $27,240. So that means I'm $6,000 above. For every $2 above, they take $1 out. So therefore, my penalty in this example would be $3,000. All right? And so they're going to withhold $3,000 of payments before they turn on my benefit. So if someone's making, $1,500 a month, they're going to withhold 2 checks, and then they're going to turn on the Social Security benefit. All right? So that's the way the earnings test works if I take early. Now, here's where it's going to change. So what happens is, and let's go back to my example. So right here, I'm going to turn full retirement age in 2024. So the year I turn full retirement age, which is 2024 here's what happens. Earnings test changes. And that would be, in this example, January to October of 2024. All right? And why do I say October? Because once I hit November, earnings test goes away. But this year here, now I can make substantially more. Earnings test goes up tremendously the year you turn full retirement age. And this year it's $56,520, almost 3 times the amount. And then for every $3 I make above that, they take $1 out. So I'm also going to have less of a penalty. All right. So the year you turn, you can make substantially more. And that's for the whole year. If you were turning in July, it's still for the whole year. They set that as an annual amount. All right. So here's my point though. If I wait to full retirement age, the earnings test goes away. I don't have to worry about either one of those numbers. And so that's why some people decide to wait and not take until they stop working, because they don't want there to be any bearing at all on their Social Security benefit. They don't want to take less, and they don't want to take a penalty if indeed they continue to work. Now, the truth is this. When they do withhold this money, you do eventually get that back. It is not a lump sum return to you. They actually kind of prorate that out. There's a whole nother formula. I won't take the time to explain that now, but you would get that money back. But again, not lump sum. It will be spread out over a period of time. All right, now, next what we're going to do is I've invited Stephen Strickland, who is the owner and Chief Executive Officer of a company called Wise Wealth. I've known Stephen for years. He's a dear friend, very much a trusted advisor. And so I've asked him to join us during this video to give us his input, his advice about this very important decision in regards to Social Security. Stephen, we appreciate you taking the time to give us your professional advice and input on this whole topic. What our folks have learned so far in this video is we've covered how to calculate full retirement age. And then we've also shown them how their primary insurance amount, that amount they're going to be eligible for at full retirement age, is actually calculated by the government. And then we also discussed the earnings test in case people decide that they're going to go ahead and take their Social Security prior to reaching that full retirement age. And so what I'd like for you to do, you've got lots of experience in this, but I think it's very important for people to understand that when they decide to take Social Security, what has to go into that? In other words, when we look at the big financial picture, what all kinds of things should they be considering? So if you could share that with us, we'd appreciate it very much.
Sure, Marvin. I really appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity again to speak with you, speak with your your clients here on the phone call and on the video today. I believe what you guys covered is some of the three most important things. We always tell our clients you should not be allowed to retire until you know the things you talked about. What is your full retirement age for Social Security? Everyone needs to know that. We know that everyone's income is based on that age, primary insurance amount that you mentioned. And it also affects whether or not your Social Security is offset based on your work, if you're working or not. So outside of that, so first of all, I'll just say thank you for sharing that information. That is critical, that's helpful. I'm sure everyone on watching the video today will find that extremely helpful. Where we go from there is we tend to look at, so then once you know that information, when should a person take Social Security? And sometimes people will go out there, and there's different softwares, there's different times that people get offered what we call a Social Security maximization report. And a Social Security maximization report just simply tells someone how to maximize their income Social Security, how to get the most out of Social Security. And I always tell our clients, that may or may not be helpful. The whole goal in retirement is not to get the most you possibly can out of Social Security. The best thing you can do in retirement is to get the most out of your assets, to have the use of your assets the longest, to have your assets be around the longest, to be able to leave, an estate or a legacy or inheritance to your children, perhaps. The whole goal of retirement is not getting the most you possibly can out of Social Security, even though we want to get the most we can from them. And what I mean by that is sometimes people just say, what's the date I get the most on Social Security? I'm going to take it on that date. When they do that, sometimes that means they may have to spend down their own assets just to wait to take Social Security. So I look at it and I say, is it wise to, let's say you're going to get $40,000 a year from Social Security, and you have quit working, and the way to maximize Social Security is to wait 2 more years. Is it wise to spend $80,000 of your own money just to delay Social Security for 2 years so you can get that maximum amount from them? So we have to look at, there's several things we have to look at. And so the number one principle that I would tell everybody is, don't make the Social Security timing decision outside of the context of your entire plan. That's why we believe it's so important to have a retirement income plan. What other assets do you have? Are they qualified or not qualified? What is your life expectancy? What is your health history? What other assets do you have? What are your goals as far as leaving money behind for your kids? There's a lot of other questions that have to be answered before you can just decide when you're going to take Social Security. So the number one principle we always want people to understand is, don't make this decision outside the context of a plan. Because a plan is going to take into consideration what other income sources do you have. Are you going to continue to work? And you covered that. Certainly, if you're going to continue to work, into retirement, it may be worth it to delay Social Security. But if you're not going to be working, it may not be worth it to delay Social Security just to spend down your own assets. Maybe you have a lot of money in savings and you're going to spend down your, a particular savings account just so you can delay Social Security, and you plan for that. It might make sense. We all know that the primary way to increase your Social Security benefit is to delay it as long as possible. And so, that's kind of another principle I keep in mind. It is better to delay as long as possible, but you delay as long as possible as long as you're working and you don't need it. But when it comes time to where you're going to start spending down your own assets, that's when we might possibly look at, doing something different. And so, and to me, that's the key consideration. I think first of all, people probably should, if they're working, probably should not take it early. The only reason you would take it early before your full retirement age is because you're not working, or you're working lower than those, amounts that you mentioned earlier. But otherwise, if you're still working, you should continue to delay. And I think most people know that you don't have to take Social Security at full retirement age. You can keep working and delay it even while you're still working. I think it's important to know that while you can take Social Security at full retirement age while you're still working and just bank that money. So even though you could delay it and get a higher amount, again, depending on your situation, you may, after age 67, continue to still work and take Social Security, and you will not be offset. You'll get the full Social Security amount. And so there's just a lot of consideration. So I just tell everybody, don't do it based on a Social Security maximization report. Look at your other assets and just because the whole goal really of retirement is to use the least amount of your assets to produce your income stream. You want to preserve as much of your assets as possible. Let your assets continue to grow. There is no lump sum value to Social Security. There is no death benefit cash value to Social Security. So with your other assets, if you let those grow, those continue to grow in value, then you actually have access to cash over your lifetime. You have access to money that can continue to grow. You have access to money that can continue to produce an income stream while you're taking Social Security. So even though there's kind of a couple parts. One part is delay as long as possible. That's how you increase it. But on the other side, I would delay it as long as until the point where you're going to start spending down your own money to do it. Then I'm not sure it makes sense. And you know this, Marvin, as well, but I know I'm talking in generalities here. Obviously, there's age differences between couples. There's a lot of other factors why one person might start it and another person might delay it even. So overall, sometimes we're in a group audience like this, or I'm in a public forum talking about Social Security. It's always difficult to say when someone should start it, because the real answer is always, and the best piece of advice that I can always give someone is, don't make the decision alone. Don't make that decision by itself. It should be done in the context of a plan, which is why it's so important to have a plan. A plan simply says, here's what my income need is in retirement. Here's whether I have pensions or not. I might have a pension, I might not. Here's what Social Security would give me at this age. Here's what it would give me at other ages. And then what are my other assets? What are my other goals with these assets? That should determine then when you should start taking Social Security. Maybe one person starts it and one person delays it. So there's all kinds of considerations like that. Certainly Social Security, you're obviously talking about it today because it's extremely important. It is one of, what we always called, the three-legged stool that used to be there. Now we kind of have a two-legged stool. But before, when people retired, they had a three-legged stool. They had Social Security, and they had a pension, and they had, some of their own savings. Now pensions have gone away. And so the advantage of Social Security is certainly that it's a guaranteed lifetime income. It represents some value. We don't tend to look at it of what is that Social Security income actually worth. But if someone is getting $40,000 a year from Social Security, the equivalent to that is like having $1 million investment portfolio. $1 million in an investment portfolio drawing out 4% a year is $40,000 a year. So if your Social Security income is $40,000 a year, that's the same thing as having $1 million in a portfolio. And so you want to look at it like that. It's a massive investment. It's a massive opportunity. It's one of the largest retirement assets people have. Outside of Social Security, since there are no pensions anymore or lack of pensions, then certainly that's where you have to look at your other assets and kind of, maybe buy your own pension, buy the old leg with another annuity or something like that. But the advantage, obviously, of Social Security is guaranteed lifetime income. And certainly, the survivor gets the higher of the two benefits. And so there's reasons why sometimes you might take one Social Security at the normal age and another one later. But again, all this stuff really ultimately, Marvin, as always, everything needs to be done in the context of a plan.
Okay. So the real takeaway here for me is be sure that we're not isolating that decision. Because if so, we're only looking at that Social Security maximization report, which is going to spit out a number in regards to that alone, where it's unwise to do that. Look at everything else going on in your financial picture to be sure that you are going to take it at the right time.
And you look at your life expectancy, and your life expectancy may be 20 years of retirement. Just say, if I'm going to delay Social Security by 2.5 years, I'm going to spend down that $40,000 a year for 2.5 years. That's $100,000. That $100,000, instead of delaying Social Security, I can't get that $100,000 back. That $100,000 in 10 years could be worth $200,000. That $200,000 in 10 more years could be $400,000. That's really the decision you're making. So it's like, I really tend to look at, are you going to spend down your own assets just to delay? If you're working, delay it. If you're not working, unless you have other assets or unless you have other ways you're not going to spend as much now, definitely delay as long as possible. But if by delaying you're spending your own money, probably wouldn't do it.
Okay. All right. Well, Steve, that is wonderful advice, and we appreciate you taking the time to give that to us.
Absolutely.
Have a good day.
Great to be here.
See ya.
Thank you.